Yeah, this video is going to be something a little different. Working on a transmission out of a lawnmower, which most people have. Well, anyone who has a riding lawnmower. The majority of them are hydrostatic, which is what this is, and they're pretty much all the same. So, we'll start out, show you how to test it. You can see that's working. That's forward. So we know it works. So what I want to do is I want to drain the oil, take a look at it. And I'll pop off the lower case, which someone might call an oil pan, but they call it a lower case. After I drain the oil, I'm going to start out on, it's going to be this side, it's going to be the pump side I'm going to drain out first, so I can look at it. And the drain bolts are a different size than the case bolts, so you have to worry about accidentally taking them off. Now I can take a look at this pump side fluid, see if it looks any different. It is a little bit dark. It ain't bad looking, but I'll show it to the camera in a minute. It's coming out. This is the expansion tank. Not all transmissions will have an expansion tank. Not all transmissions are going to have drain plugs. If you don't have those, you got to remove your transmission, tipped upside down. There's some plugs you remove. That's pretty much it. It's almost down to the bottom. I'm going to put this drain plug back in a second. I need to drain a little more. Just throw this plug in finger tight. Let's see if we can see. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there is no metal in there. That's good. It's used, obviously. And that's a good sign too, because someone just didn't swap out the oil. Because I bought this used. But yeah, it looks really good. So I'm going to drain this into something else. Actually, yeah, I'm going to drain it into something else because I want to look at the other side separately too. Alright, so I'm going to pause it. Yeah, so the bucket's empty. I'm going to drain the other side. Put this cap back on just to keep stuff out of there. I think it's right here. Yeah, I feel it. This little stand here, I made this. It's actually not all that special, but they sell stands for doing this type of work on transmissions. And they're like 89 bucks, and then they're shipping and everything else. So by the time you get it, it's probably over 100 bucks. It does make life a lot easier. And so this fluid's draining out. Pop this cap so it makes it come out a little faster. There it goes. And that is the differential side of the transmission. Yeah, it's looking pretty much the same. It's pretty good. And the reason this transmission looks so maybe new looking is because I painted it. I power washed it. I used some cleaners on it, and it just didn't really look real good. So I want it to look you know, try and make it look good, because I'm putting it into the mower I'm putting in is, you know, it's only got, what's it got on it now? 4 hours, maybe 3.5 hours. It's a brand new mower, so. That's drained out good enough. Put that cap back on. I'm gonna try and make it look a little new again. There's the fluid. No metal. Oh, I forgot to put drain plug in. Alright, let it drain. Let it drain more. I'm going to be flipping this transmission over in a second. To get the lowercase bolts out. Let me throw this plug back in just so I don't get a mess all over me. Find a drain hole. Should be clean and run. Alright, nope. What is that? That's so easy when you can't see. Bolt. There it is. Just plop that back in there. Freaking oil off. Get some oil off. Off the gloves. Alright. Pop these bolts out. This up and over. Put these bolts back in there. Just hold it. There we go. Here's the bottom. These are the drain plugs right here. These are 14. Well, these other ones are all 12 millimeters. And one thing I wanted to clean it off for is I don't want more dirt getting inside while I'm taking it apart. I figure I'd clean it. Try and prevent that from happening. Let me get an extension. These are real tight. Get this oil bucket out of here. And just take the bolts out. Is this right? Don't worry about the bolts being longer or shorter. It's pretty easy to figure out. It's pretty obvious where they go. There's quite a few of them in there. Alright, there we got them all. Looks like it. Alright, so there's little edges you pry up on. I'm not taking this apart because I think something's wrong with it. I'm taking this apart. I'm taking the pan off because I want to do an inspection. And I don't want to, see how easily that popped up? That was pretty easy, actually. But there we go. There's the bottom. There's the pan. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a filter here. There's a magnet right here that was down in here. Oh, that's got to be cleaned. Sit down on the ground. I don't see anything in there that looks bad either so far. I don't see any metal. That's good. You don't want to see metal. And this one, it's got a spring right here. Yeah, filter. The filter looks good too. I just reused the filter. Excellent. Check another container right here. So I got a clean container over here, and I'm just going to put these parts in. And this is the charge pump. You want to, well, I'm filming it, so I don't need to take a picture, but you might want to take a picture just so you know which way this goes, because this will go this way also. So you want to put this back on this way. It's like a little. That suckered on there good, huh? Let me get this out of the way. Get this. We gotta get this charge pump off because underneath this gear here, there's a pin that drives it. That's a tight fit in there. Just an oil pump. Not all transmissions have the charge pump. I think it's just the K66 and up that have them. I'm not positive, but as far as these tough torques go, it's just the K66 and up. And I'm looking at this right now, and this looks good. There's a light mark around it, but that looks pretty normal. So this center, this gear comes out. I'm going to inspect all these gears, which look good. Look really good. Alright, put these all in here in my container. Brakes over here. And this is underneath. This is the pump, and this is the motor. You want to make a note of which way this plate is in here, because it's at an angle. If you put it in the opposite way, it'll work, but when you're pulling the lever, it'll turn the opposite direction. So then you'll have to take it apart and everything else. So yeah, it don't really look good. I don't see anything bad with this thing. What I want to check is between here. Yeah, let's see if we can see this on the camera. But the release lever for when you want to push the mower, when you pull that little, you got a little metal rod in the back of your mower, you pull that, what it does is, I don't know if you can see that, but watch it right here, makes a little gap. There's a little pin that pushes through, pushes that motor out, and it creates a massive oil leak. So when you're pushing the mower, this will spin, but it's not rubbing against the body, and it won't damage it because there's no oil flowing, and you don't want to push it and have it rub against it and have it go dry and damage this, because then you'll damage your transmission. So that's what that's for. But yeah, this looks good. I can actually look at these spider gears too real quick. They look, I gotta inspect these just to make sure they're good, but from what I see, they look pretty good. These got heat treated steel gears in them, whereas I don't know about the 62, but I know the 46 has heat-treated powder metal gears, and a lot of times you'll take this cover off and you'll see metal all over the place. It's coming off the gears because they're not as good. So I'm going to take this pump out. So they call this the center case. Pull the center case out. I don't know if I should pull this brake shoe out too. Hold on a second. I'm going to pause it. Found a magnet. Not the one I was looking for. This one should work. Take this brake shoe out. Yeah, it's a brake shoe. Just gotta remember to put it in the right way. You can see how it was wiring. I'm gonna press that in there. There's a shim. One shim. The other half of the brake shoe. See? And it's important you put it in right. It's got a bevel. I don't know why, but it does. So put it back in. You want to do that. And here's a brake disc. It's got disc brake. It's got a disc brake in it. But I'm going to pop these out real quick. Make note, because there is a beveled side from where it was probably stamped out, and there's a flat side. Flat side, I'm pretty sure that's how it's supposed to face in, is on the flat side. But that's how I've seen them, is always with the flat side facing in, so that's why I put them back together. And there's another C-clip in here, just like you'd see in any differential. If I can get it out. It's not the easiest. There we go. And this one, let's say, yep, flat side facing in. I don't know if that's important or not, but that's what I do. Just put it back the way it was. Put it back the way it was. But let me see how this one is. Because see, this one isn't, so maybe it doesn't matter. That one wasn't. That wasn't flat side facing in. Pull this axle out a little bit. See if I can get this C-clip. There we go. And this one's flat side facing in. Ow. So I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter. Maybe it just depends on who put it together that day. Alright, so let's get these gears out. So we just look at them, you know, take a peek at them. Just make a note of what you see. So here, that was like that obviously. But there is a washer there. On this side, let's say, no washer. Looking at the gears, and they look good. Don't see anything wrong with them. They would get sharp. If they get worn down, they get sharp. But those look good. So, we'll call that a good inspection right there. Get this out of gear. This one looks good too. You can see there's still oil down in there, so I'm going to drain that oil out. I don't know. That might not be fun. I might have to do something different with that. because it's not going to hit the bucket. Not going to hit the bucket. Alright, so these are 14s. I think I got a 14 over here. Do the right thing. Use a chrome socket. Is that a 14? It seems a little loose. What size is that? That's a 15. Maybe I had the wrong size socket. I'll get it. Give me that back. Bunch of oil all over my impact gun. Alright, that fits nice. There's only 3 of them. They're all the same. Nothing to worry about there. And this is the center body. I'm going to pop this out. Important, remember, don't forget that pin. Yeah, it's already coming up. It's already. There we go. There we go. See if that did it. It just wants to move, huh? There we go. Alright, so that's up. Now here's very important. I'm going to separate this. Let me put this down here for a second. But right here, oh, it's already falling out. There's a little pin. You know, a little pin? You don't want to lose that. You'll be crying. You'll be crying. Well, the pin is somewhere safe. Now I'm going to look at this. This is actually really nice. This is the pump side, as you can see, but it's really nice. I'm probably going to polish it up. But that is, there's no deep scoring. It's just a light, looks normal, looks like normal wear. But what we're going to do is, this is the motor, and we're going to separate this, and there's a, hold on a second, let me get this apart. So remember, this was up like this, and they're different on each side, at least this one is, but it's angled. It's the angle of the dangle. Alright, so put this right here for now. I need a clean spot to work with. Alright, so this is the motor. There's a little washer right here, which it's in there pretty good because it's sucked down by the oil. There we go. And this is flat side down, so I'll put it that way back in. But what you want to look for is in between here, right in between these little openings. It'll wear out, or any other wear obviously, but they will start wearing in between here and you'll lose pressure. And these pistons, you want to shake them in the bores. These ones feel pretty tight. If it was bad, you'd see it, it'd be wobbling. So take a better look just to make sure. That looks good. Organize some space over here. I looked at the motor, that looks good. Get some of this RTV out of here. And this is a bearing. You want to inspect this. Of course, with bearings, you look for pitting. But I don't see any pitting. Like that in there. The races look good, and these races are different. The race that goes towards the motor has a smaller hole, so there's more contact between the pistons. Alright, and this is the pump. The pump. I think I feel something up there right now. Nope. Actually got it out in one piece. Here we go. That's that. So I'm going to do the same thing with this. Inspect the motors. So it's got springs in there. I'm going to look for any possible broken springs. But so, yeah, check these. Off camera, I'm going to do a better inspection of this just to make sure. But I don't see any problems as of right now. Let's see. So that is the pump. In case you're wondering, the pump and motor are the same thing. They're the same part number. But I am not going to mix them up because, well, they are used. So I'm going to put them back where they were. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this for a second. I'm going to get my sucker. I got to turn the compressor on. Actually, I can just, you know what? I don't need to use a compressor. I can use something else. But I want to suck all this oil out of here just to get it out. So let me pause it. Yeah, well, I sucked a lot of that out. I just used syringe. I use these on a lot of things. Sucking fluid out of master cylinders, so I want, you know, so if you want to flush it out, get all the old crap out first, stuff like that. And I put a light up here so I can see better, but there's no metal in here. This is nice looking. And this down here, I'm going to pop this out. This is the swash plate. Let me sure. That's a tight fit. I like it. Alright, so swash plate. I'm going to check this bearing, make sure it's good. And you can buy all these parts on the website, Tough Torque, if you need them. They're not necessarily cheap depending on what you need, but This is a bearing that the swash plate rides on. It's like a main bearing or a rod bearing. That's what that is. Those look good. Put this to the side. Suck out the rest of this. Mention this spring goes here. Not all of them have that. That K62 I took apart didn't have this spring, but funny thing is they saw an upgrade kit for the K62 which comes with a shaft and it comes with this spring and it comes with some extra clips. So I'm wondering if this spring helps out as far as making more pressure to push the pump up to the center case. Helps you build more pressure maybe. But this is the bearing here. I want to really look at this. But I don't see anything wrong with it. That looks good. It's plastic. And I've seen these in videos, that is, where the plastic breaks and it starts going through and it's, you know, the thing starts not working right, whatever, and this ain't riding on it anymore, obviously, because the plastic broke and the bearing's no good after that. So the simple fix is get a new bearing. But that feels good. That feels good. Looks good. Like I said, this is just an inspection. But this plate will tilt, and depending on how it's tilting, how you're stepping on your throttle or go forward gear thing, it'll either go forward or reverse, and the amount of tilt would determine how fast you go, because that determines how much fluid is being pumped. But that looks good. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take a better look at these parts. I'm going to clean up that. let me show you. I got this. It's a flat piece of steel, which I got to clean. It's just steel. I got to change this. I glue sandpaper to it. I got to clean this off, get the glue off. And I use that to sand the center body. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have sandpaper on it. I'm going to go like this. I'm going to take out those marks, so it's going to be like new again. So probably can start out with some 600 and go from there. But let me pause it for a second. I got oil all over me. Alright, so I got my flat surface cleaned. I got my sandpaper ready. I'm going to start with 800 because it's really not that bad. Right now I'm just waiting for the glue to tack up. This is already tacking up here. This is tacking up. Looks good. And I got a piece of glass over here. And I'm going to press down on it just to make sure it gets flat on there. And I'm just going to trim it. Yeah, I'm just trimming it around. Just going around again. There we go. Trim some other edges. And that's it. And I flattened this using a piece of glass and 800 grit, and just use WD-40 like is what I'm going to use. So this is flat. It's flat enough for what we're doing. So we're out building spaceships over here. Although I probably could build one. That'd be pretty sweet. Let me get a little WD. So what I do is I take the little WD. It's all WD'd. You can see how that looks. I'll start on this side. You can see how that looks. So, take it. And just go like this. I'm not even pressing. So I'm going to keep doing that for a little bit. I'm not even pressing because I'm just letting the weight of this metal puck do all the work. I'm not putting any pressure. I'm just doing a swirl like an Etch-a-Sketch, trying to go around evenly. You can already see that it's almost gone. That was just a little, that was like 30 seconds. So a little more WD. This is the pump side I'm doing. Now, if this was really bad, it probably wouldn't work, but it depends on how bad it is, how deep scoring is, you know. But for light stuff like this, it's like magic. I'm doing this. I'm not pressing. I'm just letting the weight of this metal puck do all the work. It's aluminum. Sands very easily. Let me see. Let me see. See that? You know, light going around the edge. That's not too bad though. That's not gonna. But you can see it almost looks like a factory finish now. Like I said, this is just basically I'm just inspecting it. I just want to make sure there's no major problems, no broken parts. And while I'm in here, I might as well give this a little refresh. Let that work. But this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this for a while and I'll come back. Yeah, so here's how we look. Didn't take long. I wasn't off camera that long. There's still a light groove going all the way around. That's no big deal. What I'm worried about is in between these passages, and that's all nice. And on this one, you can see there's right here and right here. I want to get that out. I want to flatten that out, get this out. And I'm done with this after that. This side looks good. I'm happy with that. Looks nice and smooth. I did that with 800. I could have started with 600 or 400, but 800 did it. It didn't take long. So I'm going to move on to this side. We'll see what happens with that one. I really should have filmed this from the beginning, because it's really, I just spent like, I don't know, 60 seconds maybe on it, and I just put a little more WD on there. And it's already looking good. Let me get this wiped off. Let me get this wiped. But yeah. That's the motor side. Look at that. Nice and clean. Nice machined look surface. That didn't take long at all. This side looked like it was the better side. This side was actually the worst side. This took the longest. And it really wasn't that long, but, you know, like this side. I think I'm gonna call that done. I mean, it looks good. I'm happy with it. Alright, next thing I'm gonna do, actually maybe I'll stand on it for a couple seconds more. Let me see. Just for good measures. Place it over here. Like this. A little WD on the sandpaper. Do your little etch-a-sketch motion. I kind of rotate this while I'm going too. I don't know if it matters, but that's what I do. But I just kind of just go around like a etch-a-sketch type motion. Swirly, swirly. I think it's done. I don't think there's anything more I can do to this. I think I'm going to call that as beautiful. Let me see. Look at that. Look at that. Nice. This side's just a little bit around the edge, but I'm not going to worry about that. It's in between here with the, we're going to lose pressure. So that is good. This is the charge pump side. I mean, I could pull these pins out and hit this a little bit real quick if I wanted to. Which I might. It's not really bad, so I think I'll just leave it. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. I haven't decided on that yet. I'm going to move on to the pump. Or this is the motor. They are a little different looking on. You can see this one has a chrome bevel edge on it. Yeah. Oops. Yeah, they pop out. I can tell this is definitely the motor side because it has that wear where the washer was. But yeah, it has a chrome bevel there. I don't know if that's some distinguishing thing or something, but not quite sure about that. All right. These springs seem to go in both ways. I've seen some of them where the bottom part will be beveled out bigger, but this looks the same. So this is the pump, and this is the motor. And I can see a little wear in there, right in between here. Right between here is where you'll get some wear. They can be, or it could just be trashed, but it's not trashed. It's in pretty good shape. But I'm going to put this on the sandpaper on the glass and just sand it around. That's all I'm going to do. Flatten that out. Yeah, there's the motor. I already sanded it a little bit. I cleaned it and I hit it with a red magic marker. So I'm just going to sand it one more time. See how it looks. Looks like I got it all. In between the grooves. It's all clean. Alrighty. So I'm going to call this one done. Everything looks like nice and sanded. There's a little tiny groove right there though. So I'm probably gonna hit some more. There's a little tiny one. I don't know if you can see it. I'm gonna pause it. I'm gonna sand it more and work on that. I just started using this, like this. There, but I know this is flat too, so I'm just working it. Just working it, and it's looking pretty good. You can see. Only a tiny bit more. Tiny bit more. A little WD-40 on there. I think I'm going to be calling that. See, there's a weird little thing right there, though. But that's, I don't know if that's a wear. Right there, a little tiny bit. So I'm going to work on it a little more. Alright, so where I am on this one. This looks pretty good. I'm going to leave it where it is. You can't go too much because there's that washer that goes here. If you take too much off of this, the washer can actually be too thick and kind of push it off the center case and you'll lose pressure. There's no chance of that happening right now, but you can do that if you go down too far. But yeah, I'm going to leave it where it is. I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to put the pistons back in. I marked it right here and I took them out clockwise. I don't know if it matters, but I want them to go back in their original bores just in case they wore a certain way to each bore. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to clean this off, put some oil on it, put the pistons back in, and this is all done. I'm going to go to the next one. So, just finishing this one up. This one took more work. This is the pump. The pump block. Where it mates up to the center body took more work too, so that would make sense. But they both show a little more wear on each side. That's pretty smooth. That's pretty smooth, but I don't know if I can see. But yeah, it had in between these little spots here. It took more work to get it down, to get that out. And that's where you really want to make sure that's flat. Alright, I'm going to clean this up, put the pistons back in, and I'm going to get ready to put it back together. So, and look at this. I'm having a hard time seeing it myself too, so yeah, it looks nice. Looks brandy new. So I'm going to lube up these holes. Put the pistons back in. And I clean it off a brake clean too, just to make sure. And I scratched this one too. If I could find a scratch right there. A little scratch there. I'm going to start with that piston, go around. Pistons are in. I got a little bit of wear. A little tiny bit. seen a lot worse. I seen where the piston's going. It's like you could see it rocking. It's so bad. I can feel a tiny bit, but should be fine. Alright. Checking the motor side. Same thing. So actually feels even better. So definitely the pump side takes a little more beating than the motor side. So we're gonna rock it like that. And if a problem arises at some point, then we know we need to get parts, but I don't think we do right now. I think we're fine. I think what we're seeing is normal. Right, so I'm gonna, off camera, clean all this crap off. So when I go to put it back together. Alright, so I'm gonna start putting this back together. I clean this little filter out. This goes between here. And this is the main filter, which is, it's actually not dirty. I'm gonna reuse that. This is just an inspection and refresh. But there's no metal in here, so I mean it's good. So it's not like there's gonna be anything in that filter. So that little filter right there is $50. So it'll be fine. So I'm gonna start with this pump. Just want to get down on there. Get down on it. Get down on it. Yeah, let me see. Just blind in there. Alright, that's in there. Beauteous. Beauteous. Alright, so make sure I got this turned the right way. This is the release. I cleaned this off and blew it off camera. There's a little pin, a little tiny pin. You don't want to forget that. So I'll take this. Let's put a little grease on this pin. And grease in that hole. Don't want to lose it. It will fall out the backside too, so you gotta be careful. And I'm gonna grease this up just a little bit. Just a little pre-lube. Just put the pre-lube on there. I'm gonna put some grease here. Get that washer where it's supposed to be. That's where that goes. I can feel a detent where it goes downwards, and there's also a detent in the pump, so that's not going to cause an issue as far as sanding it down. Yeah, see, stays on there. I'm going to put a little bit on here too. Get that little smudge off there. But yeah, grease ain't going to hurt nothing. Ain't going to hurt a thing. Just help it, you know. Alright, so I'm gonna go that way. I'm gonna take my pump. And this is an old thing. So I got my pump here. Or not my pump, but my oh, it's in there. Here's my motor. Got confused for a second there. Alright, so look at that. It's like holding it, the grease. Alright, so then you got this whole block assembly, which is gonna go in there. And so this is the fun part. This is where you're gonna have fun. So take this, that, there's a groove right here where you want that bearing to make sure it sits over that little lip. So this will take some finagling, and also it's a little pin here, so you gotta get the pin to line up with the shaft, and you gotta get that bearing to line up. So you're gonna compress it. No, wait a minute. Oops. Hold on a second. There we go. Yeah, like I said, this is the fun part. There it goes. So, bearings down in the groove. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these bolts in. This, you want to be careful. Do it by hand, take your time. If anything feels weird, stop. Let's see. Getting sucked in, right? Alright, right there. Not barely. That's tightened down. Looks good there. Check this. Release is working. You want to check that. If you can see where to remove this a little bit. See the piston moving away, or the motor block. So that's in there, right? Bearing is in its cup. These are all snuggulated. Snuggulated. Put a little grease on here. I didn't mess with this right here. It's not really, it's just barely anything, because getting these pins out can be an experience. I don't want to mess it up, so. I lost this for a second. That little pin. For a second there, I was like, where did I put that? No! There. Put a tiny little grease in there. No, it can't hurt nothing. Alright. Just a little pre-lube. Pre-lube. Pre-lubed around there too. Alright. Put this bad boy back on. Just to see, make sure it's fitting right. That went like that. I thought that went down further, but no. No, what that spring does. Alright, that spring presses down on that is what that does. Alright. Alright, nice. Tell me if I put this in wrong. I don't remember. I think it was like this. Smiley face at me. Give me a little winky. Alright. But I gotta torque these down. Give me a second. Get my torque wrench. I'm gonna pause it. Alright, so I got my torque wrench. Get a socket. The spec is, I think, 33 to 47 pounds or something like that. So I'm just gonna go to 35. Because that's how far I want to go. Anything higher than that just feels like too much. You know, it's aluminum. On here. Get it right at 35. There we go. Oh, it's moving around. Right there. Alright. Actually, no, I'll go around. Just one more time, just to, you know, make myself feel better. That's good. One more. I know it's moving. Everything's moving. Yeah, it's fine. It's 35. We're good. Alright, so let's torque down. I'm turning the pump right now, and it's turning nicely. Oh, turn the whole pump, 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 pump. Alright. Smiley face. Smiley winky. Give me a little winker. Yeah, I'm gonna drop these brake pads in there. This one go like this one goes on there. This one goes over here. There's the little, I don't know what they shim. I guess you need a shim in there, I guess. I don't know. Before I put the gears in, I want to go around and wipe this down with just to get oil off there, so when I seal it. So I'm going to do that off camera. Yeah, I wiped it down around just to try and get oil off it. Winky, winky. Alright, so let's see if we can get this gear in first try. Let's see. Put this to the side. And it does matter how you put this thing in. Just in case you're wondering. That does matter. That's always fun. Alright, so we got that. Like I said, this is not super easy to do. And the last one, so I know kind of what a pain in the ass it is, and the little washer is in there. It's not splitting though, is it? Oops. There goes my flats thing. We're good. That's normal. Don't worry about it. Man, this thing does not want to push in there, does it? Oh, yeah, right? There's this one. There we go. There we go. Okay. There we go. There we go. All right. So, there is a hanger. This little thing, flat side. I'm just going to put both flat side in. I don't know if it matters, but that's what I'm going to do. Get a little clippy in there. Flat side in. There we go. Alright. Yeah, this isn't meant for high speed, if you can tell. Come on, oily again. I was wearing gloves, but they were not doing much good. Filters in. This magnet needs to be cleaned. Yeah, there's no shards on this magnet. It's like a super fine dust, which is not bad. Normal. Normal. Here's the magnet. I know you can't see what I'm doing. I'm just cleaning it off. That just goes in the bottom of the pan, which I'll put that in later. Alright, so gears are in, retainers are in, filters in, charge pumps in, torque down, brake pads are in. I guess we can put this spring in here so we don't forget it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean the pan, and that's, they call it the lower case. I guess I could put the gear in, but let's not do that real quick. Put this gear back in. It's this thing. There. Yeah. There we go. That's a nice fit. That's a nice fit. Change the washer. That's the way the washer was on. I don't know. Doesn't matter, but. Alright, so. This gear will go like so. See, it's got a little flat spot. Don't worry about that. Actually. This flat spot goes in a certain way, which you will, if you can't see it, I don't know, I'll turn this a little bit. A little flat spot. So when you're putting the lower case on, you don't crack it. Oh yeah, that's in there. Alright, so we're good with that. I gotta clean this off again because I got more freaking oil on it. Some oil on it. Well, no oil. no leaks. No leaks. And off camera, I blew out all these holes, so I don't have any hydro lock and crack the case or anything. But yeah, so yeah, this is good. This is clean. It's all clean in there. I don't see any oil on it. A little tiny bit right there. A tiny bit of oil. Yeah. Alright, so I'm gonna do this off camera. This is, you gotta get all these little grooves. There's all these little grooves that are cast into it. You gotta clean them all out. I will probably spray this, clean it, just to get it cleaner. But yeah, there's really nothing in there. So, alright, let me do that. Alright, so it's all cleaned up. You see it cleaned. I've got a bead of RTV around it. One of these tubes is probably enough to do 4 of these cases. So it's not bad as far as that goes. So this is all cleaned. I got the bead. You gotta go on the inside too where it seals. It separates the habs. I mean, there is a filter in here that allows the fluid to transfer from one side to the other, but I guess they want it separated for the most part. The magnet's in there. Yeah, so you don't really have to go on the outside, just on the inside where the fluid's going to be. I'm just going to double check everything's in place so I didn't forget anything. Everything looks good. Everything in its place. Center body, center case is torqued down, 35 foot-pounds. Everything looks good. So I'm going to set this down on there. Try and get it as straight as I can. Let's get that spring there, which is kind of a pain in the butt. Get a bolt in there. That is in there. Took this outside, I washed it. Use some dishwashing fluid or dishwashing soap. Cleaned it up. These bolts are pretty clean. Not good enough. But get them all in there, like I said before. Pretty obvious which holes they go in. Start them by hand. And there's quite a few of them. I didn't skimp on the bolts, that's for sure. Did not skimp on the bolts. Alright. Make sure you get in the original threads. There you go. Get another socket extension. Alrighty, so these I'm just gonna get them snug down. I'm gonna torque it yet. Just want to get the sealant to start squeezing. You don't want to use too much of that sealant because it's just gonna squeeze out anyway. Just make a mess, waste it. See it squeezing around the edges nicely. Just a little bit squeezing out. That's what I want. So I'm going to do this. Then I'm going to go eat something for lunch. Take an hour, give it an hour to set up. And then I will final torque it. Final. Then I'll put some oil. Well, I don't know if I'll put oil in it today. I might film that for tomorrow. But get these ones. Alright, so I'm just going to go around, give them all a little tiny snug just to make sure they're all even, Steven. Barely snugging them because I don't want to squeeze out all the sealant. And that's it for that. So I'm gonna go eat some lunch while this sets up, and then I'll come out and torque it down. Alright, it's been what? It's actually been an hour and a half. I was busy watching YouTube videos. But I got my torque wrench set to 15 pounds. Is it set? Yeah, it's set to 15 pounds. So, around torque them. Torquey, torque, torque, torque. There we go, little clicker there. Sometimes it feels like I don't trust this torque wrench. That's why I didn't use it to tighten the center case. I had it calibrated years ago, and ever since then, it feels like it's tightening more than it should. So I don't really use it for things that are really precise. That's what you get. What was it? Was it 13 I had it calibrated? I don't use it much. I used to use it for a lot of valve train work. It's convenient, small. miss anything. Make sure they're all snug. They're all clicking. Clickety clack. I think we're good. Alright. Alrighty. Snug down these drain plugs. Alright. So now, get this oil out of this groove. I didn't know it when I bought this paint. I was just looking for something that would look like aluminum kind of, but it's for exhaust headers. It says you're supposed to bake it on. So I used there we go, little glue. I used a heat gun. And then I used a propane torch. And I got it to cure. Alright. Oil coming out of there. It's all in there. Alright. But yeah, I was just trying to make it look better, you know. Go through all the trouble, why not? Get oil down in there, that bothers me. Just gonna gather dirt. Gather dirt. Alright, so I'm gonna put fluid in this, fill it up. I think we're good. Our TV is fine, it's got a good skin over it. Take this out of the way. Take that out of the way. You don't want to fill it through this, through the reservoir. I'll show you why in a second. So I get this bolt out. Man, that motherfucker's on there. Jesus. Maybe I won't show you why in a second. Yeah, I'll show you why in a second. Hold on. Hold on. There we go. Can I get it out this way? Maybe? I thought I could. There we go. Well, yeah, I could show you how much. It's got this tiny little tube that goes in there. Tiny little hole. That's a thick ass tube too. I don't know why it's so thick. It's like crazy thick. It's like a double DOM tube. But yeah, it'll take forever to try to fill through there. It's just like I said, it's an expansion tank. It's not for filling it. But you can top it off through there, you know. So you got here and here is the gear side, pump side. Get some oil. I got some around here. some 1030 synthetic. They come with 1030 from the factory. So this will be fine. I don't think they put synthetic in it though. They just put a regular oil. Let's see. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Yeah. Get in there. Do, 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 do. Bloop. Yeah, there you go. Gurgle. Gurgle, gurgle. Get a little air. There it goes. Don't this shit overflowing all over the place either. That would suck. Oh, it's pretty close to the top right there. There. It's gurgling. Alright. What does it take? Like 2.5 quarts or something like that, I think. I don't know, something like that. Just fill it till it's full. Ooh. That's pretty close. It's pretty close. Let me fill it over here until I see it on the other side, because it will go from one side to the other. It doesn't start going all over the place. Let me get this turning. Alright. I don't want that fan in there. Alright. Should have a 15 milli. Oh shit, that's what I had the 15 for. So I'm just gonna prime the pump. This thing might be, is it overfilled over here? It might be. It's going down. That's it. Seems a little slow for some reason. Let the fluid get in there better. Put this on there. It's probably still low. What?
I asked you a flippant question. Instead, you came out here instead of answering me.
What? What did you ask me?
Dinner.
Oh. Yeah, sure. I'll dinner.
Keep it up. What do you steaks tonight since it's not raining?
I guess. You know it's going to start raining as soon as I turn that grill on, though.
And I'll hold an umbrella for you.
Alright.
No, it was supposed to taper off as the day went on, and it didn't really rain except for this morning, so.
As long as it thawed out.
Yeah, I never froze them. That's why I'm trying to figure out what's for dinner, so I know I've got too many meats in the fridge right now, but because I wasn't sure how the weather was going to go and what we wanted, and.
Yeah.
But, what'd you do? Freaking leaf blow the stuff onto the car?
No, it's just shit that gets on it. Don't rub it though.
I didn't.
Alright.
Who the fuck do you think you're talking to?
Yeah, don't. Well, Kylie was rubbing it earlier. Can I tell?
Kylie's 19 in the jacket.
Huh?
It's grass clippings.
Oh, alright. There you go. It's working. It's pretty full. So I'm going to put the expansion tank back on. Top off the expansion tank. That's it, pretty much. That's the air bubbles probably got to work out a bit more, but it's working. Reverse is always slower than forward, so that's normal. Seems to be working like it did. So there you go. If you ever have to do one of these, it ain't that really that bad a job. Just take your time. That's all. Get this oil out of here. It's bothering me. But yeah, there you go. K66, disassembly, freshen up, reassembly. Alright, have a good one.